Alright, hello guys, how's it going? I wanted to make this video for Patriots fans as a Patriots draft guide. Obviously, I'm only a fan, I don't work for the Patriots or anything, so I don't know for certain anything about this draft actually. But I can give you a guide with some experience of being a fan and some experience of paying really close attention to the draft of what's likely to happen. So before I get started with the video, be sure to follow me on Twitter for more Patriots takes and more Patriots content. It's really cool to be able to just share a bunch of stuff there. So be sure to follow that. And also, be sure to join our new Facebook group called All Things Patriots. I'm a part of a lot of Patriots groups on Facebook, and they've really gone downhill. They've become Buccaneers pages. All of it is filled with Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski and the Buccaneers. No, we're not doing that here. This is All Things Patriots because I'm a Patriots fan, not a Tom Brady fan, not a Rob Gronkowski fan. I'm a Patriots fan. And this group is going to be All Things Patriots and only Things Patriots. So be sure to join that if you are a diehard Patriots fan. Both of those will be in the comment down below. Let's first off talk about the draft picks that we have, and we have a lot. And Bill Belichick loves having tons of picks, and he has a ton here. The one thing you can be sure of is that one or more of these picks will be traded. I'm almost certain of that. I think there's a statistic where he's at least traded a pick in every single draft, at least one, since like 2001 or 2002. So that's very, very revealing of what's to come. We're almost certainly going to trade picks in some form or fashion, especially with this amount of picks. Expect to have less or more picks than we have starting out. So probably more. That's usually the way they would like to go. So expect possibly to trade some of the third round picks and get multiple picks later in the draft, possibly some picks next year as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how they mess around with these picks, but we have a lot of picks, which means a lot of new players most likely, which is really, really good news, obviously, for the Patriots. I remember a draft, I think in 2017, where we only picked 4 players. It's very, very disappointing going into a draft when you only have that many picks. It's very exciting to see us have this many picks because it's a lot more potential to pick up some great players, potentially, or at least good players. So let's get into the biggest needs for the Patriots, in my opinion. Now, at number 1, we have tight end. Obviously, we have no tight end, so I don't think any Patriots fans are going to argue that that's one of our biggest needs. Obviously, some would have another position. I think the NFL.com has linebacker and defensive end as the number 1 and number 2. I think that we have much more offensive needs than defensive needs. Obviously, a lot of people would probably agree with me on that we definitely have much more offensive needs in this draft. So expect it to actually be a pretty offensive-heavy draft, unless they just really want to focus on building up the defense more. The defense alone can win, 9, 10, 11 games. Our defense is amazing, and if they continue to build around that, that could be the strong point of our team going forward. But I think what's going to happen is we're either going to see 50-50 offense-defense or a little bit more offense than defense. But again, it's very unpredictable, especially with the Patriots, to say what could happen. Expect the unexpected, but these are the needs. Another interesting note before I move on, at tight end, there's a very limited amount of talented tight ends in this draft. It's one of the worst tight end drafts of all time. I would be very surprised if a tight end gets even picked in the first round of this draft. And if it did, it would probably be from the Patriots, actually, out of any of the teams. So I expect that if they do get a tight end, it's most likely going to be one of the third round picks, or potentially if they somehow trade into the second round, whether that's a Tooney trade or if they trade back from the first round for multiple picks. I could see them taking a tight end in round 2 or 3 or possibly even later. Also, I could see the potential where they could take 2 tight ends, just like they did with, I think, Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez both in one draft. I think that was the 2009 draft. I expect that we could potentially see 2 tight ends. It's that big of a need for this team. Wide receiver, I just saw where we signed Marquise Lee. It's still my number 1 need. I don't think that's a permanent answer. Obviously, he's 28, so unless he's absolutely a solid starter on our team, or they think he's going to be, I think that we would probably still take a wide receiver at some point in the first half of this draft. First round, I'm not too confident they would do that again. That would be back-to-back years, but again, maybe like a third round pick, second round pick type deal would be a good spot to take a wide receiver. It's a very wide receiver heavy draft, so you could probably get a lot of talent in the second round. A lot of them are going to go in the first round though. Now, my next positions in line is at number 3, linebacker or defensive end, and we lost Kyle Van Noy and also Jamie Collins again, so that kind of opens up at least one hole on the linebacker position. I think we're going to see Jawan Bentley really come into a starting position, and then obviously we have Dante Hightower, so I think you can go ahead and say there's probably going to be one opening or void for a linebacker position, probably one of the outside linebacker positions. I think that there is the possibility, because I obviously put defensive end or linebacker. The reason for that is I don't know what they're going to do with Chase Winovich. He was a defensive end last year. I could see the potential for them to just shift him up to linebacker and then possibly address defensive end. But it's also possible we just draft a linebacker and keep Chase Winovich where he is, or both. We could just get one of each, or multiple of each. I don't know. It could go either way. Again, these are very, very unpredictable, the Bill Belichick drafts. It's really not going to end up how anybody thinks it is, or even close. At number 4, I have safety. We have 2 very old starting safeties, Patrick Chung and Devin McCourty. I love them both. I've loved watching them play over the years, but they're on the wrong side of 30, and they're far on the wrong side of 30. I think they're both closer to 35 than they are to 30, so we definitely need to address that position. Within the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to need 2 new safeties. Otherwise, that's going to be a really big need, or a big void in the team moving forward. And then number 5, I have quarterback. Now, you might be wondering, well, you like Jarrett Stidham, because I obviously made all the videos of Jarrett Stidham, so why would you want to address quarterback? Well, we only have 2 right now, and it's Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham. I've grown up with my parents that like the Redskins, and I watched what they did with RG3 and Kirk Cousins. They drafted both of those 2 players in the same year. RG3 they drafted earlier on, and then they drafted Kirk Cousins later on, and that ended up being a very, very good move for them. I think that having 2 young quarterbacks that are developmental is better than having 1. So if they can grab a guy in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round that they like and they think could potentially be starting caliber moving forward, at the very least, it's going to be a trade opportunity later on if Jarrett Stidham works out. And then obviously there's a risk, because with Jarrett Stidham, you don't know for sure if he's going to be starting caliber or not, so you would have that second option. It's a win-win, and I think that they're definitely going to address quarterback, whether it's in the first round like some people think, or whether it's in the middle to late rounds. They're going to get a quarterback this draft, and I think that's one of the things I'm more confident in for sure moving forward. If not, they're going to need to pick up a free agent quarterback, because with a young starting quarterback, I'm expecting them to definitely at least rule with 3 quarterbacks moving forward. All right, now here's some wild cards to think about before this draft. The number 1 is, will Tooney get traded? And the answer is probably yes. It sounds like they definitely are going to trade him for some sort of pick, whether that's trading up to get higher up in the first round, or if it's just to get a second round pick or a third round pick or multiple picks. I don't know, but it's likely that he will get traded because they haven't seemed to make an agreement on a contract. Now, the other thing that brings up is, then will offensive line become a need all of a sudden? If they trade him, could we be looking to pick up some offensive linemen in the draft? Because I would say we probably have 1 developmental offensive tackle in Isaiah Wynn, and then Marcus Cannon, is he going to be injured? Is he going to be healthy? Probably injured, so we can go ahead and assume that. And then we have Shaq Mason and David Andrews. David Andrews, we're hoping he comes back to his full, good potential, really good center play, and I think he will, but that still leaves 1 guard position open and then 1 tackle position open, and that would really create a need for an offensive lineman, at least 1. I think Marcus Cannon, there is the potential that they just think that he's going to come back and, obviously be fine. He gets injured a lot, but let's say he does come back and can play. We still need an offensive guard, so that's going to be interesting to see how that would play out. It would get us more picks, but it would also create another need. So it's kind of a win-lose, kind of gets us back to the same position. And now, last but not least, what should you do? So this is obviously the draft guide for the fans of the Patriots. What should you do? Nothing. Of course not. You don't work for the Patriots. You should do nothing. You should not worry, and you should not get too attached to the idea of them drafting a player you want. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, when I was younger, I would be like, oh, there's this really good cornerback or something, when we had kind of defensive needs more. Oh, there's this really good cornerback. If they get him, that's just going to secure our defensive backs, and we're going to have a great cornerback crew. No, they know better than we do, and really you can't get upset, because whatever decision they're making, 8 times out of 10 or 9 times out of 10, it's better than the one you were trying to make. That cornerback that I wanted them to draft turned out to be nobody. I don't even remember his name. So that should just go to show that whatever player you think they should draft, if they don't draft him, that's probably because they have a better idea than you do. Now, as a couple closing notes, first off, I'm going to be having a lot more content coming up for this draft, so expect a lot of content. Please subscribe if you want to see more of that. I really would love to have you guys. Now, listen, I've seen this opinion getting floated around, and it really makes no sense. From somebody who knows football, and I know anybody really that has this opinion obviously has not done their research. There's this opinion going around that Bill Belichick sucks at drafting and free agency moves and trades and all that. Like, people on social media and stuff that are Patriots fans, they literally think that Bill Belichick sucks as a coach at everything besides just coaching. So as a general manager, really, that's not even true at all. If you look at any type of research done on who drafts the best players, like percentage-wise, it is always the Patriots. And people will say, oh, well, that's mostly because of Edelman and Tom Brady. He still drafted them. Every single team has a player like that where you could be like, oh, it's because of that player that's made it look so good. It's year in and year out, we get probably 2 to 5 good players every single draft, and that's way above average. And it's usually not even our first-round pick, which is really rare. Most teams, it's mostly because of their first-round pick, and then the rest, it really just drops off. We're really good in the middle and late rounds, and our first-round picks are usually pretty good too. It's really consistent. And we, year in and year out, have some of the worst draft picks in the draft, obviously, because we're one of the top 5 best teams almost every single year. And we still find a way to be the top drafting team in the NFL. It's really incredible. Anyway, that's enough for that rant at the end of that video. Thank you so much for watching. It was really fun making this video. Be sure to subscribe for more Patriots content. I'm going to have tons and tons and tons of more Patriots highlights, more talking videos like this, and also draft videos coming up again in the next few days. We're going to have a lot of those coming out, so be sure to subscribe to get those. I'll see you guys in the next video.